Hey guys, this is Anonymous. Well, we have some pretty big developments today. I was just about to shoot a video when I noticed that Quantum had just released a video confirming that him and his wife are officially done. That's right. And he may be leaving YouTube entirely due to his current situation. So let's get into that and let's start with what happened during the video that he just released today. During the video, he actually admits that his wife has left him, in fact, that they are separated. They are not technically divorced yet, but the paperwork will be filed. He then goes on to make some really outrageous claims. He says that she's scary, that she's horrific and aggressive, and he acts like all these problems are because of her. And he pretty much just passes the buck and doesn't take any real accountability for anything. I mean, he keeps on saying that he loves her, yet apparently, you're going to treat somebody like that and attack them as he did and got arrested for, I don't know what he expects to happen by controlling people the way that he does. I mean, we see this online, how he bullies people, he manipulates people, and if you don't do what he says, then he attacks you. And in her case, she actually did get attacked. So for him to try and say that, like, he winds up saying, like, oh, guys, please don't dox her. Well, excuse me, Quantum, but when myself, Rambo Tweety, and others have released information about your whole situation and on this arrest, not a single time have we released her name, and we will not do so. Every document that we have ever produced, that Rambo has uncovered, we have censored, we have redacted anything having to do with her name, her birth date, or her address. We don't put out any of that information, nor would we ever, because this is about you. This is your fault, not your wife's. So stop trying to put the blame on her or put the blame on us. It's not my fault what you did. You understand? That's just really sickening. And if you want to talk about doxing, you doxed my wife's name. We all heard it on my Discord. So you want to be all high and mighty, like, don't dox these people, oh my God, as you call Ackman's mom, and as you dox my wife by name. So stop the bullshit. It honestly seems like karma is finally catching up with you. So, you know what? I think this is just your just dues. So, I hope that you can grow from this. I hope that you can learn from this. We have a little bit of hope that you might actually grow, Quantum. I hope so, for your sake. Okay, so the other things that he mentioned during his video was that since his wife has left him, which we actually have reports that she left him back in February, because as I had mentioned before, the cops were called back in February because Quantum had sent her a text message, and in the message he said he had bought a gun and that he was going to kill himself. He's going to end his world, is what he was saying. And so the cops got called. They went over there. They checked up on him. They confronted him. They asked him, hey, did you say these things? And yeah, I did say those things to my wife. And so the officer took him into the hospital to get evaluated, which he did. And so that went down back in February. Obviously, it didn't help very much because fast forward a couple months, and next thing you know, we're in April, and he does this to her, where he winds up putting lacerations on her hands. I mean, you guys have probably heard the police reports we've already reported on, but it's just sickening. You can't continue to act like that, Quantum. Okay, so let's go over some other new developments. I originally was going to make a video this morning just about these topics, and then all of a sudden this bombshell video he releases like 20 minutes before I'm ready to record. So, but good information that we can reflect on and learn more about this character. So the number one thing that had happened before this was On April 26th, I released a video, my last video, called Quantum TV Updates, in which I used Quantum's real name, Jermel Dace. That's right. And so because I released his name, Jermel, he wound up sending a privacy complaint to myself. And I wasn't the only one. There were so many videos that were coming out about the time about Quantum that there's been at least 5 YouTubers that I can recall that have had privacy complaints. Now, when you get a privacy complaint, YouTube support team will reach out to you, say, hey, you got a complaint. It's for this video at this time, and they'll give you a timestamp. And they even say, if you want to, we have a tool, you can blur your stuff or you can edit it or whatever. And my stance was, I did nothing wrong. Jermel is public record, namely because he got arrested. So this is about Jermel. Quantum is just his online alias. When the Flash got arrested last month here, just a couple weeks ago, we didn't say, oh, the Flash got arrested. We say the actor's name that got arrested, because the Flash didn't get arrested, but the actor did. So going back and forth with other people in the community, they didn't want us to use his name, but QuantumTV did not get arrested. Jermel got arrested, and that's why we are covering this. And it's because of his online antics that we're at the place we're at right now. So he filed the complaint. I decided that I was not going to edit the video, that I wasn't going to do anything to that effect, that I was going to stand on principle. I understand the laws pretty well, but you never know how YouTube is going to ultimately rule. So I wound up writing them a pretty lengthy 3-paragraph reply, basically in which I talked about it being public record. But if you want to see that more in depth, you could come on over to the Discord, and I got all the information right there if you want to look it over. Moving on, we actually have an interesting topic, and for the most part, a lot of this has been confirmed, but just to make sure we're clear, it's not 100% confirmed, so at this point, I will just say it's alleged, okay? So here's what we have learned. We actually learned that Quantum, it seems, has lied about having kids. That's right. So if we go back to the February police report, where he's telling the officer, the reason I want to kill myself is because my wife took everything. And he's like, everything? Well, what did she take? And he said, well, she took the couch and all my stuff, and she took the dogs. But he doesn't mention his kids. It's kind of odd, don't you think? I mean, if somebody took your kids, don't you think you'd tell the officer, oh my God, she took everything. She took the kids, she took the dogs, but no, he didn't mention the kids. So that was really curious. And then something else that had happened was a buddy of mine said, well, maybe the kids were just hers. Possible. I mean, I myself have a blended family. My wife has kids that were hers, and I have a child that was mine. And I do not look at her kids any differently than my own children. And so if he actually is just not saying he lost his kids because they're in fact her kids, well, that's even more horrible, because now you're not even trying to stand up for the kids that you were helping to raise. So, but it seems pretty confirmed in my eyes that they actually don't have kids. So they just called their dog kids. You know how some people call their dogs kids. So it could be just that. The other big thing that came out was, so when he was arrested, he actually was placed on a GPS ankle bracelet. So he does have an ankle bracelet. And he also had to surrender his firearm. So thank goodness that the gun that he did purchase, he doesn't have access to, as far as we know. It has been removed from the house. So this is a good situation, because part of the reason we're putting this video out here is because this guy is very unstable. He's very narcissistic, and he blames all of his problems on everybody else. He blames them on you. It's your fault that he did this, according to him. It's his wife's fault that this happened. So People in the area, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for Jamal. And if you're worried, if you're living in the Florida area, you might want to look him up just to be safe. This is a public service announcement for those people. So the other thing that happened was it looks like there might be possible fraud charges that could be added. And those fraud charges come from one of two places. From one, as Rainbow Tweety has been proving over and over, there's a stolen valor claim. And he has lots of documentation. He has contact with military affairs. He's in talks with the JAG right now to go after him. So yeah, the whole stolen valor thing is real. And we also found out in this latest arrest that he just had here a couple weeks ago that he put down on the paperwork that he was not receiving any military disability benefits. And that's very significant, you see, because he claimed that he had a medical problem. I won't go into what it was exactly, but he said he got out of the military because of a medical issue. If so, he would be entitled to military disability benefits. And the paperwork that we just saw shows that he is not receiving a single benefit from the military. So that seems pretty confirmed to me that he was never a true veteran. Okay, so we could get more into that later, but I talked to Rambo on that. He's the expert, and we could go in there. Like I said, there's two possible cases for fraud. One was stolen valor. The second one was when he actually went to go take the cell phone from his wife. That's when she got the lacerations on her arm, and she tried to pull back, but he eventually got the cell phone, right? And allegedly, he got into the cell phone and was trying to find her bank account information, so assumably that he could transfer money that he figured he was owed. So if he did in fact do that, then that is fraud, because you're going into somebody else's bank account and you're trying to fraudulently transfer those funds. So that's another possibility right there. The other thing that we had was really funny, actually. He requested a public defender. And that's, all this talk in the past of how he's oh, I'm going to come after you. You don't mess with me. I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to sue your ass. I got lawyers. And when it comes down to it, guess what? He filled out the paperwork to try to get a free public defender. And that paperwork showed that he was denied. And I think the reason he was denied because his income, what he does make, what little he makes from YouTube, on top of her income, together was more than the required maximums that you can have to get a free public defender. So being still technically married, her money actually goes into his, and so he was denied. So that's just kind of funny. Something of a spoiler here. Somebody that we know very closely in the community was told by the prosecuting attorney on the case for Jermel. He's in contacts with this prosecutor, and he was told that he may be called to testify before the court and should possibly be issued a subpoena. I don't know. We will wait and find out more on that information on who this individual is and what is actually to take place. So things are looking good to actually get the truth out there as to what has really been happening with Jermel from people that know best. Next subject was something kind of interesting I've noticed over the past few days. After I released my video, my QuantumTV updates video, I started receiving, after I got the privacy complaint filed against me, I started receiving random prank phone calls. And the person would call, and I'd pick up the phone, and silence, complete silence. So it kind of reminds me of Ninjishin, back when Quantum and Ninjishin were having their feud back and forth. And Ninjishin had got some prank phone calls, and he had to file an FBI report to get them to stop doing it. Now, there's only been just several calls, hasn't been a whole lot yet, but if it continues, I will be forced to file an FBI complaint. So if that's you, Jamel, knock that shit off, or I will file a complaint. And I don't think you want to have any more on your plate than you already have right now. And the other interesting thing is when we were looking into the recent events on Quantum and his YouTube channel and his comments section, you go in there and probably no shocker to anybody, but he has been curating his results. I mean, if you go into his comments section, you're going to find that 100% of his comments are pretty much all good towards him. I mean, this is no news for people that are in the know, but for people that don't know, if you write something bad about Quantum in his comments, every single comment is held for review, and he will look at it. Believe me, we have reports that he's been up till 3 and 4 in the morning going over his comments, and he's like, "Oh man, what a long day! I've been going through all these comments and everything, and it's just insane." And it's like, dude, why do you got to do that? Just be transparent with people. That's part of the reason is we know that you're fake. Okay. And finally, if anybody's interested in really diving into this information, if they would like to see more screenshots of some of the redacted stuff that we have put out, you're more than welcome to join us in our Discord. I will have a link in the description and on my channel page, and it's free to join and get into the saga that is Jamel. And hopefully everybody stays safe out there. Let's get the information out about this guy so that people are safe, especially his soon-to-be ex-wife. We wish the best for her, and we absolutely disavow anybody if they decide to dox her. We don't do that. So if that comes from anybody in the community, it is not from us. We do not promote that. We completely condemn that. Don't do that. We want this woman to be very safe. We only want to get the information out about Jamel and what is going down. That's the most important thing. And a final cap. In the video he actually released today, he said, after she did take everything, that he's basically going to be doing all of his videos with a cell phone. Which, you know, that's what I do. But I don't do YouTube for a living like he does. So he's going to do this. And it sounds like pretty much his QuantumTV channel is going to be dead. He might do some commentary, but the quality is going to go way down. So, good job, everybody. I think he's getting exactly what he deserves. I'll talk to you guys later.